Welcome back to my channel. As you see from the title, we're gonna be basically doing a sit down video because I kind of like these videos. First, don't forget to please like this video and subscribe to my channel, because why wouldn't you want to subscribe to my channel? Also, don't forget to follow me on my socials because I do post a lot of my little antics when I do drive. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and enjoy the video.
Probably see me out in Foley with the wifey, she a thief. How you living? I've been checking everything off the wish list. Never telling what I'm on, you might end up on the heat list.
I'm gonna basically talk about my personal experience, what I went through, also including some tips and some advice that I wish I was told before going through this, because I kind of had to just go through it. Basically, here is what I did. So let me just start off by saying it was never a plan. I genuinely was gonna wait to pass my test. That being said, I went to my grandma's funeral in Jamaica. So whilst I was on the plane, my mum had basically kind of persuaded me, hey, why don't you just like for fun revise the theory test? Because I told her that a lot of people in my sixth form were doing it. She was like, hey, why don't you download the app? I downloaded this app here. I used that for my theory test. So I kept doing that whilst I was in Jamaica. I came back, I had basically got to the point where I was passing. When I did the practice question, I was like, hey, why don't I book my test? We booked my test. I went on the day, nervous as hell, because obviously it's like a big step. Like, got there. Literally, it's like little cubicles and you go in, you're sat at a computer desk and you do the test. I took my time, read the questions, everything. You basically go to the desk and they give you your results. It comes out, it prints out straight away. So I got my first results. I say first because yes, I did not pass that time. Obviously, I was proper sad. And I legit went to my mom and I was like, Mom, like I didn't pass. I don't think I can do it. Maybe driving's not for me. My mom literally drove me everywhere. Ever since I was a baby, I've been in a car. But I was upset because it was like, I was kind of disappointing her. She's driven all her life. She drives me around all the time. I can't even drive her now. Then she was like, no, Chanel, like try. We booked another test, but you can't do it the next consecutive day. But you have to wait a while before you retake it. So I went the second time. I went the 9th of March 2018 and I passed, and I can tell you the results I got 48 out of 50 on my multiple choice, and I got 62 out of 75 on my hazard perception. Yeah, I was happy. So literally the next step was now my driving. A month later, I was like, cool, I think I'm ready to actually like do my practical. Now I was more nervous on my practical because it actually requires you going every day learning how to drive, whereas my theory, it was like me by myself. I'm a very independent person, so it's like I didn't need anyone to help me with my theory. I just have to learn it myself. My mom was online and she basically was trying to find like an instructor. We found one lady. Now this is the messed up part. I had one lesson with her, tried to book another lesson with her. She was nowhere to be seen. Like, she disappeared. She was like, bye bye, I took your money for one lesson and I'm gone. I was a bit like, okay, just get a new instructor. So we found like a company called a Bill Plant. Now my mom specifically wanted me to have a female instructor, and we found one. She was really nice, she was really lovely. We did quite a bit. So with Bill Plant, they give you this basically pupil handbook, and you basically go through the things you do or you're meant to know as like part of your test, but also driving in general. So obviously, as you can see, mine are basically all ticked off other than like these two. So you just go through that. So I'm a quick learner. I learned like the cockpit drill and all of those like basic kind of maneuvers I was very comfortable with. When it came to the actual maneuvers and parking, that's where my trouble kicked in. There's two maneuvers that are not on the test anymore. So it's I think park up and then you got to reverse around the corner. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. The good thing about my instructor, she did actually tell me to still like do some of these maneuvers, because there will be a time where I'll need to do it. Like, it's part of driving. So that actually has helped, even though it's not on the test. They do actually go over like basic driving skills. There was one point in particular, I was doing that maneuver, I'm pretty sure, and she basically kept telling me to park and I couldn't do it. And the one thing about me, if I can't do something, I get very frustrated with myself. And I basically get to the point where I start crying because I'm just so irritated with myself, and I'm just like, why can't you do this? I started crying, but I had also other stuff going on. So like, I had my A-level exams coming up. I was just overwhelmed. To me, on top of driving, it was like, oh my god, I've got to revise my test, like practice my driving, and I've got to, it was a lot for me. Long story short, I started crying, and she was nice enough. She stopped the lesson. She's like, do you need a minute? We like got out of the car to get like some fresh air, and we basically spoke about it. Like, I was able to talk to her about like what I was worried about, and she basically gave me like the most advice she can as a driving instructor. She said if I needed any time off driving, like, let her know. Once I start something, I'm very determined to keep going. So for me, like, she even asked me, do you want to like take a break? I was like, no, I want to keep going. It got to like the 9th of June, and she basically had to go back to her country. I'm now lost without another instructor. This is the second time now. But luckily with the company, there's many different instructors. There's instructors in all different areas of London. All you have to do is literally put in your postcode, and you'll be able to find an instructor for you. You can put specific requirements, so like female and male, automatic and manual of course, but I learned in a manual, just heads up. And she obviously was like, hey, I'm going to refer you to another instructor so you can continue your lesson. I now got a male instructor. Like, at the beginning, my mum wasn't too keen on it, but turns out this guy was amazing. Hands down, probably the best instructor out of the 2 ladies I had. He was really patient with me. He let me like even get to the points where I could listen to the radio whilst I was driving. Like, he was very considerate about my coursework and like any exams I had. Regardless, as a whole, with driving, I did get frustrated at a lot of things. Like, I kept beating myself down about it. It eventually got to my practical test, which was the 19th of September. I think my test was around like 10:30. I think it was 10 actually. Yeah, I did an hour lesson beforehand with him, so we went over some stuff. But my main issue was if I get the maneuver to reverse into a bay, I can't do it. Now, everyone literally like knows I always reverse. Like, any bay it is, I'm reversing. Which before I hated it, couldn't do it. Went to my test, get asked questions. My show me question was like, how do you know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system? And then my show me question was literally beat my horn. The show me question is basically a question you've got to answer or do on the move. The tell me is when you first approach the car, you'll have to tell them and explain. And then my maneuver was forward bay parking, which I was so thankful. But this is a little tip, early tip in the video. When doing maneuvers, not many instructors tell you. As long as you haven't got a lot of minors already, you can take the chance and get a minor, 1 minor for parking. But my instructor basically said to me, if there's any point in time where you feel like you're not in the bay, or you just don't feel happy with your parking, you can fix it. You don't have to stay in that position. You can check and say, oh, I'm not in the bay or whatever, and be like, can I fix this quickly? You'll get a minor, but it's rather getting a minor than failing a maneuver. I basically did that because I couldn't see the line. I got it in, but I had to kind of fix myself. You can choose if you want your instructor to be in the car or if you don't. I chose to. The lady that I had, she was pretty chilled with me. She didn't really talk to me, but she didn't make me feel like I was being like examined. And it's just like, what would you do if you didn't pass today? And then I was like, probably be sad. Like, I'll probably go home and be sad. And then she was like, well, I'm happy to tell you, but you passed. And I was like, oh my god, yes. Obviously I passed the 19th of September 2018. That was my driving experience basically done. Overall, my like thoughts of it, it's very stressful. You have to be very patient with yourself, and also tests are expensive. Like, in your theory and your practical, let alone buy a car, it's expensive. Now moving on to tips and advice for driving. Basically wrote them down, so if you see me like looking, I'm like looking at my notes. First tip I'd say is patience. Patience is key. Patience and consistency is key. Literally try again. If you have a car at home and practice, do that. Get some extra hours in. Like, also be consistent. I did 4 hours a week, so I did my lessons in 2-hour slots. I was very consistent with it. Obviously that depends on everyone's circumstances. Obviously some people are different, some people don't need the extra hours. I just wanted to get the most out of the opportunity as possible to pass first time. Be patient with yourself. Remember, this is not a race. It's not comparing yourself to anybody else. This is you and your experience and your journey. There's no rush. If you're taking a bit longer than maybe a friend of yours, that's not a problem. It takes people time. It's a process. Also too, I'd say remain positive. If you fail it 5 times, 6 times, try it again. Book it again as soon as you get home and get the next available day. You'll feel more motivated because you're like, okay, no, this time I have to pass. Don't give up. Keep trying. It is a process. It's not easy. Third is communicate with your instructor. I even realized this at one point. Some instructors, they will just want your money. I'm gonna be real. So, of course, once you pass your test, they no longer get your money. They no longer have you as a student. Therefore, they're losing on a certain amount of income. Some instructors I've heard have basically had students on for a longer period of time just because of the money. If you feel you're ready to take your test, let your instructor know. Tell them, I'm ready to take my test. Even ask them if you want. Ask them, do you think I'm ready? Because I think I'm ready to take my test. Speak up and talk to your instructor. If you don't feel comfortable, if you feel like you're going through stuff, if you feel like overwhelmed, tell your instructor. Also, don't feel pressured. Don't feel pressured into getting a nice car. Don't feel pressured into hurrying up and getting your license. Again, it's a process. Don't feel pressured that you have to pass your test before summer because everyone's saying, oh, summer, I want to drive. If you don't pass before summer, you'll pass September. My aim was to pass for summer. I'm not gonna lie, I'll hold my hand up. My aim was to pass for summer. But the next available date in my area was September. So I'm not going to complain about it. If I can use the summer as like, oh, my last chance of like that summer TFL, then cool, next summer I'm going to be whipping. Think about it like that. The time will come. Next one, it is expensive. I'm not going to lie. It is so expensive. Driving, booking your test, booking your theory. You got to pay for your apps. Like, you got to pay for the app. I'm not going to lie. Buying a car, insurance, permit. Driving is a cash loss. It's a good cash loss, but it's a cash loss. Be prepared for that cash loss. Set this on a good note. Enjoy your driving experience. It is a once in life. It's like graduation. It's like a prom. I feel like it's such a good skill. It's definitely something I'm very grateful for. I was 17 whilst I was driving, and I was blessed enough to pass at the age of 18. Honestly, everyone's journey is different. Overall, I did get there in the end. So literally all I can say is enjoy it. Make the most of it. Obviously, with this whole situation going on right now, I know a lot of people were planning to drive. Don't give up. Once this is over, go and book your test. I will be doing drive with me's very soon, so definitely look out for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I hope this helped. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Probably see me out in Portland with the wife, she a thief. How you living? I've been checking everything.